Welcome to the first episode of the OverPowered Podcast. I'm your host, Rami, but I go by Archer, and I have my co-host alongside me. His name's Eric, but he goes by
Berger.
Berger. Yep, he's Berger on Twitch and Berger on every other platform. So, as a avid Call of Duty fan, I love to talk about Call of Duty pretty much every day, so I figured why not make a podcast about it. All the podcasts I listen to, they usually focus on one part of Call of Duty. When I like to talk about literally anything concerning Call of Duty.
Just a general
Yeah,
Call of Duty.
general Call of Duty that we can talk about literally anything from Warzone to multiplayer to competitive, and you can find that all on
maybe
one
even a little
podcast. That's why I want
zombies.
to.
Probably
Little
not
bit
though.
of zombies.
Probably not though.
You see the trailer? That it looked so cool. Actually, we'll
I'm
talk
gonna,
about that maybe
yeah,
maybe
we can get into that
later.
later.
Yeah. But yeah, we pretty much gonna talk about every week current Call of Duty news going on, and let's start off with something pretty big that's going on right now. Actually, in the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War beta. You've played it, right?
I played a little bit of it. I didn't get to play the alpha, so I can't compare the beta to the alpha. But I did play the beta. I give it like a 7 out of 10. I only played it one day. I don't know. Betas, they're so limited. I don't really play them that much.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? How much did you play it?
I actually played the alpha a little, maybe even more than I played the beta. I did play the beta a decent amount though, so I
Right.
could get like a basic idea of what it was like. But yeah, I actually have a hot take on it that I think that I enjoy the alpha more than the beta. I
I've
feel
heard
like
people say that.
yeah, I feel like the main reason, like, let me ask you, like, why did you give it a 7 to 10 and not a 10, not a 10 out of 10?
Um, I think the main thing for me, the main two things for me were the movement felt clunky and the graphics were a little weird. Now, asterisk on the graphics because it's supposed to be on next gen. So, a PS4
Mhm.
that's 7 years old, impressive that it can kind of run something like that, especially Warzone.
Yeah.
I always say I don't know how those things. It looks horrible on PS4, but the fact that it runs Warzone. Um, but the main thing was the graphics for me. I'm expecting it to get better on PC because we get the PC beta next week.
Yeah.
But
That's
and the
I feel
movement
like
felt really clunky
yeah,
compared to Modern Warfare, and I didn't like it.
yeah, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize that like this game probably wasn't made for PS4. They probably focused on it being as good as possible for the PS5
Yeah.
since they have that deal with Sony.
Mm-hmm.
So and they wanted to look even better on PS5, so people who are PS4 owners right now see how big of a difference it is, and they'll decide to go get a PS5 because
Yeah,
they want
that's
that
smart.
higher quality. I
And
feel like a lot of people don't realize that.
and a lot of people also don't realize that I think it was either Ghosts or Black Ops 2 was cross-gen the same way. Like it went from Xbox 360 to Xbox One. Like they
Yeah,
released the same game on both consoles,
I think so.
and that's
Yeah.
what they're doing this year. So people don't realize that that game looked horrible on like Xbox 360. I think it was Black Ops 2 or Ghosts. Whatever that game was looked absolutely horrible on the previous generation. But when it came to next gen, everyone was like, okay, this is way better. So that's gonna be a huge part of it. But I don't think Modern Warfare is just like literally the best looking game I've ever seen. To be honest, so it's hard to. I know that Treyarch doesn't go for aesthetic as much, but
I actually like I like Treyarch style more,
it's a little
but
bit
in
more
terms of
colorful.
yeah, but in terms of like just overall like all the things that came with Modern Warfare as a package, I feel like as an overall package, Modern Warfare is definitely the best one
Yeah,
so far.
I mean
Yeah, but
You're a Black Ops kid, so you naturally love Treyarch.
well, I didn't start out a Black Ops kid. I got like changed into one. I
Yeah,
black I like originally was like Modern Warfare 2 nerd like you. I literally played that like I probably played that COD the most to this day. I probably still play that Call of Duty the most out of any
yeah.
Call of Duty,
Even
but
more than Black Ops 2?
even more than Black Ops 2.
Really?
I played that game a lot. Yeah. Um, but I feel like in terms of multiplayer, the last couple Infinity War CODs have missed for me. That's
Yeah,
why
a little bit.
I feel like like Treyarch CODs are really good at listening to the community.
Now, see, I think the core of Modern Warfare was amazing. Just the maps were a little lackluster, and SBMM, and we're going to talk about that here in a second.
Yeah.
SBMM literally ruined multiplayer for me, and I think it's going to for Cold War too, because I feel like I'm playing ranked play all the time. Like every single match, I feel like I'm sweating, and it's just so tough.
Both times, like Treyarch, when they released the alpha and then when they released the beta, both times, SBMM was worldwide
Trending on Twitter,
like number one. Yeah, I mean, from our we'd consider ourselves competitive, like not competitive like professional, but we when we play Call of Duty, we're pretty good. We're not
we can
like
hang.
We're not casuals. So for us, like from our perspective, I can see why SBMM is like super annoying, but the thing is like, when you look at the bigger picture, like we're in probably less than 1% of the entire Call of Duty community.
We're literally the loudest. We're 99% of the voice of COD, but we're the smallest majority. It's hilarious, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is that SBMM isn't to be more fair. A lot of people, and that's what a lot of people think. Like, and that, at its core, it is. But the main driver behind SBMM is player retention, and with SBMM and the algorithm and the way it all works, we don't know officially. It clearly keeps players around because it's by far the most noticeable this year, and Modern Warfare was one of, if not the most successful COD of all time.
Yeah, and I mean, you could technically, like, if you want to like get down to like brass tacks, it could be mostly you get sales from the fact that it's crossplay. Like, we never had a COD that's crossplay before, and
a free to play aspect that makes people want to buy.
Yeah, and the introduction of Warzone being free, like separate from the game. And if people enjoy Warzone, they're probably like, okay, let me buy the full game and see what that has in store for me.
So smart.
And, and I don't think people, like, when they look at SBMM, they look at it at face value and not like in a more detailed way as to why it exists. And I'm on the side of like not liking SBMM at all, but I have to
understand.
Look at it.
Yeah.
You have to look at it from a neutral perspective and like those kind of things, and you have to you have your pros and your cons for literally anything.
Right.
And I feel like for them, the pros definitely outweigh the cons in their eyes, and by their eyes, I mean Activision.
100%. And what's weird is that everybody talks about SBMM as if it's like universal, like, and we do too, because like it is. It's like everyone knows it's a thing, but besides like a few random developer tweets from like random devs, SBMM has never even been acknowledged, like at all, by Activision, by Infinity Ward, by Treyarch. Like they have not even acknowledged it at all. But we know it's there. You can test it. A lot of creators like Drifter or Exclusive Ace have literally tested it, so we know it's there. But it's just really.
Do you think?
Go ahead.
Their biggest mistake was like making people aware of SBMM, because I feel like it may have been included in previous CODs, but they just never made it like a highlighted topic of their games. You know what I mean?
I don't think anybody really had anything bad to say about it until this year, because this year it was like I totally get protecting like really bad players that are brand new to the game because you want them to stick around. Like the fact that we're playing Call of Duty in October, like we're starting a podcast in October on a game that was literally released almost exactly a year ago. Was it on the 11th or the 13th or something? I don't know.
Something like that.
But that's unheard of. Usually people stop playing COD in like March. So
that I remember those periods. You get the game in like the
World
first,
War II,
second week of November.
Dead by like Christmas or a little bit after Christmas, bro.
That's like my second or least played COD. Yeah, I can agree with that for sure.
I don't remember where I was going with that point, but SBMM is meant to. Oh yeah, SBMM is meant to protect like those guys that are brand new to COD, and there's a lot of brand new players this year. So I totally get that, but at the same time, like at the very tippity top of the spectrum, like the top 5% of players are literally like just hating their lives every day. Like I can't get on multiplayer and play for more than 2 hours and just casually have fun. Like it's a stressful experience.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, like you stream like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
I don't stream, but like in the eyes of a streamer, like how does that compare to like just someone who's like me who doesn't stream and just games when like just a
It's
game?
a really good
Yeah.
question. As a creator,
Yeah.
not even just as a streamer. Well, I can give you two perspectives, and the first perspective is my own. Second is from Courage. I heard him talk about it, and I never really thought about it that way. But as a creator, like say you're making a YouTube video, or I want to do some sort of challenge or something that's just fun or like casual or exciting, or play with my my subs or whatever it is. It's really hard to do that because if the objective is to like be good doing this weird challenge or some sort of content piece or idea, it's infinitely harder when you're playing against people that are literally like borderline amateur CDL players for the most part. And
Yeah.
so that's my perspective. I totally understand. I'm kind of neutral on it because I get it on both ends. But Courage brought up a really, really good point on one of their podcasts. I think he was he was on the Impulsive podcast, and he was talking about playing with like a professional basketball player or like playing with OBJ or something, where those players get sucked into very, very high tier lobbies, and it's hard to collaborate and expand and grow the scene when you got OBJ that wants to play with you, but he's getting dumpstered in a top 1% lobby, so he doesn't want to play with them anymore, and then they lose that connection and that collaboration. It sucks.
Yeah. To be fair though, the time I did see him play
Yeah,
with
that was just an example.
with the pro player,
He could
was
hang
holding
for
his
sure.
own. Yeah,
Yeah.
he can hang. But yeah, I could definitely
But
see
like,
like
imagine if he wasn't good, and
yeah.
and with the influence that he has on culture, it's crazy because on one end you're retaining new players, but you're also kind of hurting your opportunity to bring in new players because creators aren't making as good content
Yeah.
or less content because of all this. So it's a double-edged sword.
Definitely. And like I don't know if you remember like back in the older Call of Duties, like fun content, not like competitive, like having high kill games was like the majority of COD content, like funtages. I used to like when I was younger, I used to pretty much exactly. Yeah, you're in Carnage, and that's
Carnage
like
Clan.
they're
Team challenges are
like
infinitely
most
harder.
of their challenges are based on like they have to be can't be put in like crazy try hard lobbies all the time. It would make like it makes it infinitely harder for them, I can imagine.
Yep.
Yeah, but like it kind of takes the fun part out of gaming, unless you're like those who enjoy sweating 24/7, which I can't. I don't know where you guys are like but you guys are built different. But I don't know where you guys like
Breed
have that.
different.
Yeah, for real. I could never, dude.
And that's
sometimes
honestly part of like I'll speak for Carnage a little bit. That's kind of the reason why we haven't had that many team challenges this year, is just because it's been like kind of an unenjoyable time. Like one easy simple video is like takes hours to like try and get it. And it's not like we want bad lobbies. Nobody wants bad lobbies.
Yeah.
It's just we don't want to play the top 5% lobby all the time, you know.
Yeah.
The way I think would work best with SBMM is after like a 1 point, like in multiplayer, after a 1 KD, it should be a free for all of players.
Yeah, that's definitely. I feel like they should maybe. This would have been the perfect time to toy around with that stuff before their full game release.
100%.
Yeah, try something that they've never done before.
Which I'm sure they are with the beta. I'm sure they're testing stuff.
Well, I heard the beta's like SBMM is stronger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And even more than the alpha.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and like for those who don't know, like the Carnage, they'll do like team challenges where they'll start like they'll play a hard point and they'll be down 249 points to
249 to 0. We have to come back.
And they try to come back, that kind of stuff.
You know how impossible that is when you're playing against like a full team of people that are just as good as you.
Yeah. But like I said, like everything has pros and cons to it. We kind of are biased in our view, and I feel like in their view they'll be biased towards the like casual player side because they're the ones who make the most money. So when you look at it from all angles, there's gonna be bias in every position. Even though you wish there could be a perfect solution, but it's a lot harder than it sounds.
So you were talking about how Cold War might be stronger. You play Warzone. You didn't get to play a lot of Warzone because you were gone for a long time. But are you excited for the transition that we're going to be making? Because this is the first time in Call of Duty history that we've had games linked together. Like Infinity Ward and Treyarch working together on like to like create a storyline and grow together is such a brand new thing. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll be more excited when I get my first win on this one. Because so, uh, for those who don't
Tell him the
know,
story. Tell him the story.
yeah, I'll tell them the story. Okay, so
Don't
I
go
was
too in depth.
stuck.
Just tell him the story.
Yeah, so basically, I got stuck in overseas for 6 months, right when Warzone came out, like the week before, and I was literally so excited to play, and so I didn't have access to like my gaming stuff for 6 months, and all my friends I just had to watch them play and get all the early season 1 wins and stuff,
Yeah,
and
baby.
get their and they get now they're like super acclimated to the game and basically can like play with their eyes closed. Where I just got back a month ago,
You got back
and
like
I'm
at the
not
end of season 5. For context,
and
he didn't play from the beginning till the end of season 5. So we're still
yeah,
trying to
and
get him his first win.
yeah, but like, the fact that it's been a month and I still don't have a win is
Yeah,
kind of
you gotta play solos,
surprising.
dog. You gotta hop into some solo
I
duos and.
I've gotten like 5 second places on solos,
Dude,
but I
we
feel
had
like
like 3 second places. I've only tried getting him. I've only tried helping him twice, and
yeah.
that's a good point because sometimes we get my lobbies, and you're like that's almost impossible for you because you don't know how to you don't know how to play Warzone yet. So like that's a perfect example of like I have a hard time playing with my friends that are kind of more casual than me because I play this game every day all day. That's a good example of what Courage was talking about, how it's hard to mix lobbies.
Yeah. Yeah, but what you were talking about the transition, I mean, this is like you said, this is something that's never been done before, and the first thing that like
It's
people go into
exciting.
people's heads it's so super exciting, but like hopefully it works out. I don't like when you're
There's so
doing
many
something that's
unanswered
never
questions.
and so many unanswered questions, and when you're doing something that's never been done before, like you're setting the precedent for this thing. Like this is gonna change like all of BRs, all of games
Gaming.
everywhere, and like becoming like crossing over from one game to another and keeping like everything from the last game, and still bringing all the new stuff in. Like if you want explain for those who don't really know what's going on, like how this crossover is going to work into Black Ops Cold War Warzone.
So essentially, Warzone, the devs like there's a lot of when I say devs, there's companies like Treyarch, Infinity Ward, or not Respawn, Raven, that are working together to create games. Whereas normally they separately make games. So all the Modern Warfare games are Infinity Ward, all the Black Ops games are Treyarch. Sledgehammer is a different studio. But this year, Warzone is like the glue that is combining all these studios together, where Infinity Ward and Raven work together to create Warzone, and they're going to kind of slowly hand it off to Treyarch, where Treyarch's going to bring all of their content into Warzone. It's like this big mix of content, studios, ideas, people. It's super, super, super interesting. It's never happened before, honestly, in gaming. It's crazy. I'm super excited for it. I hope we get a new map, but it kind of feels like they're just going to blow up the current one.
Yeah, I mean, so condensing what you said into something like more simple, like an example is that you say so that since they're crossing over, they're gonna keep the guns from like Modern Warfare, even though it's gonna be like a new gaming like a new COD season,
It's like
like
a
not
reskin, kind of.
like a yeah, pretty much. So they're gonna keep, but they're still gonna keep the old guns. They're gonna keep you think they're gonna keep the same vehicles and stuff like
Yeah, it's gonna run. It's gonna run the exact same way, feel the exact same way. It's on the Modern Warfare engine. As far as I know, there's no way they transition the engine because it's a lot
yeah,
easier to port over Cold War content
yeah,
than to
because I
change
mean
the whole thing.
yeah. And I think about it when they introduce like new seasons, like season 6, they introduced the underground subway, like
Season
that
5, they
stuff.
blew up the
I feel,
stadium.
yeah, I feel like that stuff is those are such major changes that they're not just because like they're not gonna just wipe that out once
Right. Yeah, they did
becomes
all that
Cold War
stuff,
time.
and then they showed us the nuke, and they teased all this stuff. They're not gonna give us a new map. They're gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think we talked about this the other day that you like. Do you think they're going to do where you have more than one map to choose from, and they're just going to do a rotation of maps, or you can pick what map you want to play on?
I
Like
really
any,
don't see them doing that because the
yeah,
way Call of Duty is, they don't like to split things up. Like we're not
yeah,
getting Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer because the timing of it doesn't work. They don't want to split up the player base. I don't see them splitting up the map pool. I don't know. I mean, they could, but I just don't. The way they teased it doesn't seem like they're going to.
What would like as a Warzone streamer? What is the stuff you want to see in the transition? Like
I just want to see a
what do
lot
you
of new
look forward
content.
to? Yeah,
I want to see downtown fucking get obliterated. I'd sick of downtown.
Same. Same.
I really hope that we get a whole new map. Like, I don't care if we get rid of Verdansk and get a whole new map. Sure, it'd be cool to keep both maps, but I really hope there's a lot of changes because I don't want them to just change one POI. Like, we got to get a full Cold War reskin. They got to knock out like 2 or 3 POIs, add something on the edge, maybe add on to the map, shrink the map. I don't know. They got to do something. It can't be the same map, otherwise Warzone's going to slowly fade away.
Yeah. One of the like I was doing like some thinking about it, and one of the major things, because once I was playing the beta, I had to like keep a mental note of everything they're including in the game, and I realized they have some perks that are being used as field upgrades in this current Warzone, like the ninja perk.
Yeah.
Is it like I don't know how they're gonna transition into, are they going to get rid of the dead silence field upgrade that you pick up from like you get from a box or something?
Right.
Like, are they going to get rid of that completely because you can have it as a class perk, or are they just going to keep it?
There's a ton of unanswered questions. How are they going to balance the guns? Are they going to balance them separately for Warzone and Cold War, or do it like Modern Warfare where they are the same? There's so like how are they going to port over the guns? Like for the MP5, is there going to be 2 MP5s now?
That's what I was thinking too, yeah.
There's a lot of, and the balancing and the glitches we've had, it's gonna be weird because they're doing all this new stuff and we already have a bunch of bugs and glitches. So
that's why
I'm a little worried on that end.
Yeah, from when they were like introduced it, I instantly kind of got worried because having that much stuff in one game just is bound to cause like there's gonna be glitches and like secret stuff that's gonna be super overpowered. Like people are gonna like take advantage of it. Like there's gonna be, I feel like it's gonna be really hard.
We just had a stim glitch.
Yeah, you're pretty familiar with that one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go into it, but I just basically outsmarted a stim glitch rat. There was a glitch where you could hide in the zone and stim, and I found a way to kill him. But that's been a lot of the problems with this game. Is there's just like every season there's a broken gun, which I think is intentional. But every season there's something broken. There's multiple glitches. The texture glitch from like season 4, they still have not fixed completely. A lot of the pros, whether it be like we're talking like CDL pros, but like the professionals that are actually competing in Warzone are just super fed up with the cheating. The cheating actually has gotten better. They did a huge ban wave, but it's just hard to compete for money when you have all these bugs and cheating and just random stuff. I don't know. It's super frustrating, but I hope that with Treyarch coming in, we get some more clarity on some of these things.
Yeah, what do you? This might be a little bit of a side note, but like, what do you think of these like those big Warzone tournaments? Do you think in
terms of what?
Like in terms of does it help like bring awareness to the game, or do you think like
100%? It's super exciting. Yeah. I mean, as from a streamer's perspective, I noticed that like when there's a big tournament going on, my numbers dip. So I know that people are very excited about it, whether they talk about it or not. There's a ton of eyeballs on these tournaments, and it's super good for.
Do you know if they're like affiliated with Call of Duty? Those tournaments are like regulated by like Activision and stuff. Like they help them out or not? Like, or are they just completely done by the content creators?
I think there's a little bit of both. I think because Activision sponsored Swag for one. Activision sponsored FaZe Clan and Swag for one. They work directly with Nick Merckx for his tournaments. Vicstar, I think they give him some money. So they're definitely like shoveling out prize pools, but we only had like a couple like actual Call of Duty sponsored, like put on by Call of Duty events for Warzone.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping, but maybe because of the current situation with COVID, I was hoping they would have like, you know how they'd have those Fortnite events for like just BR events, but
yeah,
like competitive Warzone events, pretty much.
That would be cool, like a small like a $50,000 prize pool for like an AM, open AM or whatever. That'd be cool.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, that's enough about Warzone. Now, I think it's time to go into
speaking of the
competitive segment. So on For this duo, I'm the more like competitive, like the pro Call of Duty side of things. He's more of the Warzone multiplayer side of things. Even though I like both of those things, my main focus for me is I like competitive a
CDL and
lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
CWL and all that
I
stuff.
yeah. So I want to take a little time to talk about some of the rosters that have been forming. Um, we have some fully confirmed rosters, some are not finished yet. I actually have a team that literally I have no idea what's gonna go on with them because apparently they just have no plan right now, and there's
Paris.
Paris,
Yeah.
yeah,
See,
yeah,
I've gotten really. I try to keep up on it all. It's just it hasn't been a big priority of mine in the past. So like I'm just trying to learn about how people play the objectives and the players and the relationships. I'm getting really heavy into the stories and the teams and the names, but as far as like I didn't really watch that much CDL this year because it was online.
yeah. I mean, like if you look at it from their eyes, like you guys, for those who don't know, Modern Warfare was like the first season of franchising for Call of Duty Esports. So they make teams like
There's an
they just
actual
had to
league
spend
now.
actual league where teams have to spend like orgs had to spend 25 million to get a spot, and they're in like they have like their own
Cities.
cities, like city-based locations, and they have to it's like everything is under Activision. Before, I think they were like affiliated with MLG and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is just like a entirely Call of Duty run
It's
esports
like the
league.
NFL call. It's like the NFL
Yeah,
league, but Call of Duty now officially sponsors. Yeah,
yeah,
it's sick.
yeah. And I think it was like took like maybe 1 or 2 years for them to prepare for this for last year, and just to have like you
COVID.
guys had COVID hit, and like they like affected their viewership a lot
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, and so with because of that, they originally had probably planned to. I think, in my opinion, they were probably planning on expanding this season if they had a regular.
Yeah.
Their first year was just all on land, no pandemic happened. They would have had way more exposure, and then they would be able to sell their expanding team
For
spots
more money.
for way more money. And I think because of the pandemic, that's the main reason why they didn't
Yeah.
expand, because their probably prices are not that high for a team spot right
Yeah, they
now.
don't want to sell them. They don't want to sell the second year spots for the same as the first year spots.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Uh,
could honestly. Like, if you're paying attention, you know that this is gonna work when it goes back to land. I mean, it worked amazing. It did really good even during COVID. So
yeah. I mean, from my perspective, the first couple, I think there's like 3 or 4 lands that they actually had
yeah, there's like
from those.
Minnesota, Dallas,
Yeah.
and like LA and Paris or London,
I think yeah they had okay, so they had they had launch weekend Minnesota, London, then Atlanta, and I think
LA.
LA. And then after LA,
It was supposed to go to Chicago, the one we were supposed to go to,
we were
and
supposed
it
to go to
got
that. Yeah.
canceled right in February or whatever.
Yeah. And that's when I
I
got
was
stuck.
so salty, bro.
Yeah. Um, yeah, but just from watching those events, you could tell like it was just completely different from what we've ever seen in terms of Call of Duty esports. Usually, 99% of the fan base before franchising would support for like pretty much one team, which was like is like the most famous team due to like their content and stuff, which was Optic Gaming. And what the main thing I noticed when they switched over to franchising is that people now that there's like the teams are represented by cities, the people that are near like that are from those cities or near those cities begin to support them because they have a really good reason to
Yeah,
support them now. So it basically spread like fandoms, like they spread it around more evenly, which was got me super excited. But I feel like the fact that land got taken away really took that
the
away from.
juice. Yeah.
Yeah, it took the juice away. I really enjoyed those events; they were nice. But let's talk about some of these rosters. Are you familiar with all the rosters that are confirmed right now?
For the most part, like the main rosters, stuff like I don't think London has their roster yet, do they? They just have that one guy that
They
they
have three
kept.
confirmed, one rumored. Right now they have Shawnee Dillon. Actually, I think they have two confirmed. Uh, Shawnee and Dillon. Dylan, they were both on London last year. Alex is rumored he was on Minnesota
Minnesota.
last year, and then Zero, who's also on Ravens, but he joined them like through trade.
Yeah, with New York,
He
right?
halfway through the year last
Yeah.
year, yeah, with New
So
York.
what's going on with Paris then? Like I haven't heard anything from Paris. Do they even care?
Okay, yeah, that's
Like
what
they released their whole team, but they haven't even signed anybody, bro.
yeah. They released their whole entire team, which was like a lot of teams did that, but some of them they would resign players on new contracts like a couple weeks later, and we still haven't heard anything from them. So
Yikes.
they had a plan. They had like an original plan, and they wanted this 18-year-old. Apparently, I think he
Hydra?
was one of the best amateurs. Yeah, Hydra, 18-year-old French player. And he's French, so they were he was sought after by them by a lot. He was going to be good for their brand and everything too, not as well as a good player.
Right.
But Clayster, who's now on New York Subliners,
That's scary.
I think he did like a 500
500
IQ
IQ.
play. Yeah, he made sure before like teams could sign anybody. He tweeted out,
Yep.
and you can show the tweet if you
can.
want. Yeah.
He thinks
tweeted
Hydra's
out
the most
that
underrated player.
he thinks he's the best AM right now. He was the best AM at the time, and lo and behold, they are rumored to sign. I know they actually confirmed signed him.
Yep.
A couple days ago. They confirmed signed Hydra to New York instead of Paris. So he got stolen from Paris, and now their whole idea of what they wanted in a roster just got torn apart. So they honestly, right now, what I've been hearing is that they have no idea what they want to do.
They might as well just sign like the Rise team or something.
I mean, I'm pretty sure
One of the AM teams.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about like
It doesn't
Singularity?
Yeah.
Type?
Well,
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they have it doesn't seem like they have a lot of money because they didn't really sign any good players last year either. I don't know. I'm not gonna comment on the money, but
Well, I heard a rumor that they can only sign their players for $50K a year, which is like the minimum salary.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, that's why they can't get anybody to join the team. But I also know that like two top players that were on London last year, Wuskins and Scraps, have been not getting any offers, and they're like, I'm pretty sure Wuskins was like considered a top 5 AR last year.
Yeah, and Scraps
was like top 10 in Black Ops 4, and he had a decent year this year too.
They both played well this year. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's a rough situation. But if I was Paris, I'd be signing Wuskins and Scraps.
What do you think of the New York signing? You think Kleitzer with the young gun and Zuma again? Do you think that's a good run or what?
I do think that's a good team because Mac is also a young gun too.
That's true.
He was a rookie last year, and
so Clay's their AR then, yeah.
Clay's gonna be their AR, yeah. And
who's
Zuma
gonna be their
would be
flex? Zuma.
I actually would think it'd probably be Mac because he ran an M4 last year. Yeah. So I haven't seen Hydra play at all, but I think he's a sub.
And he played for.
I don't even know.
He played for Optic.
Hydra?
Yeah, he played for Optic last year.
No. That's Draza.
Draza. No, I'm pretty sure Hydra played for them or was on their team.
No, he was not. He's French. He can he played in EU in Europe.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. That's why I haven't heard of him much because he
won the CDC Paris Open. All right. So I was thinking of Draza then, because those are kind of similar names. Hydra, Draza. Okay.
Draza's on Optic, and
speaking of Optic,
that's a nice little transition.
That's why I did it. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. Speaking of Optic, Hector, Hector Rodriguez, who's the owner of NRG, co-owner of NRG,
former CEO of Optic Gaming.
Former CEO of Optic Gaming is now, if you want to put that up, he rebought Optic Gaming from Immortal.
Yep.
So he basically has
his
team back. Yeah, but the thing is that we talked about this a lot, and it's very
there's a lot of questions. Similar to Cold War, there are lots of questions with Optic Gaming.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, he's co-CEO Energy, like I said, and they own Chicago Huntsman. So, but I also heard that he's rumored to sell. He wants to sell his Optic Gaming team, the CDL team, to another org. so they won't have a COD team. That's rumored though. That's nothing official. That's just what I heard. And the problem is, like, how buying back an org that's not just affiliated with? I mean, they're mainly a COD org,
But
but
it's
they
also a
have,
gaming content creation team.
yeah, they have. I'm pretty sure they have esports teams and other esports. Like, I think they were in
Maybe.
CS:GO or
Maybe.
yeah. Um, but you can't count on that. Like, I'm not 100% sure. But I know they're affiliated with other esports for sure, but I don't know what teams and what
Yeah.
games. So, like, how do you be an owner of two orgs essentially? How
You
does that
don't.
work? Like, you don't. That's the
So
thing.
there's two options. Either he quits being an NRG co-CEO, or he dissolves the Optic Gaming brand, holds on to it, or makes it part of NRG. Which, as a fan, I would like to see him dissolve his ownership in NRG because I want to see it go back. I want to see Optic be Optic again. But who knows? I mean, it could go either way. To be honest, nobody knows what Hex wants to do.
I agree with that, but when you look at like the rumors going on that he wants to sell that CDL spot, that means he's most likely not going to, like, he wants to be, and I know he wants to be a part of Call of Duty 100%, 150%. Like, how are you going to sell your CDL spot and also get rid of being a part of NRG? Like, you'll be left with nothing in the COD atmosphere. You
Yeah,
won't have a team,
that's true.
and
That's a good point.
yeah.
But
So
at the
I
same
think he's going to
time,
stay a part of NRG.
at the same time, his hand is more forced with Optic because of the timing of it all, where like it's a lot harder. I don't know, maybe it's not hard, but it's a lot harder, in my opinion, to dissolve your ownership of NRG and then take over Optic in a shorter period of time versus just selling the Optic spot and then potentially maybe he sells the Optic spot, sticks with NRG until Scump and them are done, and then re-enters at expansion next year with Optic Gaming. I don't know. What do I know?
Yeah, because they're the Chicago Huntsmen are 1 year minimum.
I'm hopeful.
Signed contracts, and there's no way. I think what I think is most likely, in my opinion, is that he will stick around for another year with NRG.
Hold on to the brand.
Hold on to the brand. Hold on to the Chicago Huntsmen, because that's like majority of those players are there because of him.
Yeah.
Like, they could have signed somewhere else, but the fact that he was going to NRG, they're like, I want to go there too. And so after those contracts expire,
maybe he dips out and buys a new spot.
Yeah, he'll dip out, and not in like a shady way, like his co-CEO Andy Miller. He's like one of the, like, I watched their podcast, NRG Duo podcast, and he's like one of the coolest. He's probably like perfect partner for someone like X. And I feel like he would be more than happy to let him go back to being just the CEO.
That's his baby. He knows that.
That's his baby. Yeah, like, he understands.
Yeah.
Where he's coming from.
One thing I heard one of those esports shows, I don't think it was Esports Talk, but I heard somebody talk about the idea that maybe Optic becomes just the Chicago Optic, or at the same time just the Chicago Optic, and then make Optic Gaming an arm of the content side of NRG, which doesn't make sense to me, because if I was Hector and I created this amazing Optic brand, I wouldn't want to make it underneath this NRG brand. I wouldn't want to
you want it to be on its own.
You want it to stand on its own 2 feet. If I were him, that's what but who knows what he's going to do, honestly.
Yeah, and like, explain this for people who don't know. Hector, he basically formed the org Optic Gaming. It was he pretty much founded it along with a couple other people, but he formed it like in 2008, 2009, I think. Yeah. And it became one of the, through like content and competitive Call of Duty, they became the most popular team by far for like the last 10 years. And like 90% of Call of Duty competitive fan base supported them. And like, he decided, after things were going well for them, and I think he decided to, because he wanted to take it off his hands a little. He didn't want to be like control of everything, and he wanted to expand, I think.
Yeah, he wanted to expand the brand. So he sold some of his interest. He sold pretty much all of his interest in the brand to expand, and then also at the same time work
to a company that Immortal Gaming, and which is like they're like way bigger than just one like
Yeah,
esports org. So
it's
they
like an
like
investment group kind of.
yeah, investment group. Yeah, so they own a bunch of things in the gaming atmosphere.
But it went absolutely sideways and south, and everyone hated Optic after Hector left
Yeah,
because
they
it got
wanted
bad.
both had different plans, and so Hector decided to separate completely from Optic Gaming, even though he didn't want to, but he felt like he had no other choice, and he moved over to NRG and became
Co-CEO.
co-CEO, and then he formed the Chicago Huntsmen
Hmm.
during franchising.
A lot of
So,
people know
like,
this
just
stuff
think of,
though.
if you think about it like that, he had that org, it was his baby for about 10 years, and then just you ask somebody to help you out, and they end up ruining it, and then you just had to let go of it,
Now you buy it
and then,
back. It's the
and you have the
ultimate
chance
comeback
when you have
story.
the chance to buy it back for cheap. He bought it. I heard that's what I heard. He got it. He like made a profit off selling it to them, and then he
No
bought it
doubt.
back for
No doubt.
lower than he sold it to them for. So when you have the opportunity, yeah, I don't blame him at all for going and buying Optic Gaming back. That's if I was in his shoes, I would do the exact same thing.
Right.
So okay, is there anything else you want to talk about? And do you want to talk about something maybe we haven't mentioned
We could
yet?
touch on the bubble a little bit.
Oh,
So
the
we're
bubble.
talking about Hector. I mean, I guess we could segue. Hector Rodriguez is co-CEO in NRG, which owns Chicago Huntsman. Chicago Huntsman, and more specifically Huntsman Scump, um, was at the forefront of kind of the debate about a CDL bubble, which would essentially is like the NBA bubble where they would all kind of group up and be able to play COD without the worries of COVID, and they would have LANs and events and all that stuff. So we wanted to talk about it a little bit. I don't think it's going to happen. Do you think it's going to happen?
I mean, I think it's likely. I think it's more likely than we think.
I don't think
And
it's likely in the sense of like a whole season bubble. It would be more of like a mid-season event and
to championship,
champs.
yeah,
No, I'm saying like it would be more like a 3 week before the mid-season event, and then they go back to online, and then at the end for champs they go to a 3 week bubble again. I think that would be the best way to do it because I don't think
yeah.
they can afford, and nobody wants to do an entire 6 month long bubble
Hmm.
or 3 month
And
or however long the season is.
like, in my opinion, I think that they should just hold lands with not in a bubble aspect, but just have lands in those respective cities, and just have teams come a little bit earlier, like maybe a week earlier instead of a couple days earlier, get their tests done, and then just hold a LAN with no audience, and there's in those respective cities. I feel like there wouldn't be an issue with that, but there is also a lot of like it's more uh it's more detailed than that. There's a lot of factors that go into that kind of stuff. Um, and the main gripe with like the pro players, the ones who are not the ones who are against it, because there are a lot that are for it. They want that, like especially the ones that struggled with online, like teams that struggled with the transition to online. But the ones against it, they like some of these players, like if you didn't know, like they own houses, like like by themselves, like they're not living with like their parents or stuff.
I
They're
got a
they
cat.
make
I got a dog.
they get
As
like
Scump would
they
say.
own yeah they own houses, like they have like lives outside of professional COD, but like people will just say like, oh well, you guys are
I
getting
mean,
paid so
it
much
is true
money,
though.
but
It is true
it is
though.
true. But it's compared to like something like the NBA, they're getting like
Yeah.
a fraction of a percent
Yeah.
payment compared to these guys.
Yeah.
So like, and the league itself is worth way more money than something like the CDL.
Yeah.
And this is a bonus to something like esports. Like it's not like actual sports where you have to be in together in order to
Yeah.
compete.
You can
You,
do it online. You
you
have
can
the
do it from
option.
any yeah. That's like the fact that we have. I feel like we take that option for granted.
Even if they did online, like shoot, they could do online. They could fly everyone to the same area and put them in their own hotel rooms and still make them do online, but they'd all be on the same connection. That way, there wouldn't
Yeah,
be a latency or
that's definitely an idea.
a kicking type,
Hmm.
situation.
And I feel like with the last season, like it taught them because it's something that you never planned for something like that. like a pandemic to happen and you're getting like that's never in the front of your mind. That's something like you have stored as a last resort possibility of that happening. You can never know that a pandemic's going to happen and transition everything from LAN to online.
Right.
But now that they have this experience of time with online, I feel like they can tweak it to the best they can to make it the best possible experience. And I think that having everybody in the same area but still having it online, like I don't get why teams just don't stay in the same city. I mean, I understand that there's more to it than that, but
Right.
the team that was most successful, Dallas Empire, they won champs. They were always together. I think they all played in the same room. They had their PC set up next to
No,
each
not
other
for
when they
Worlds.
not for
No,
Worlds.
they all played in their own rooms.
Really? Oh yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. But majority of the season they would play in the same room
Yeah, together.
together. Um, yeah, and then yeah, what else? I don't know. I can't think of anything else right now.
That's really about it right now.
Yeah.
Keep
All
it
right.
short.
Yeah. We're gonna start with
Like 40 minutes long.
short. Yeah. My plan in the future is to have this part of the podcast be filled with your guys' questions. So be on the lookout on my Twitter, on my personal Twitter. I'll do this one on my personal Twitter, but I'm going to post clips to my Twitter that's at CDL 24/7.
CDL 247.
That's my competitive CDL competitive account. That's not my personal account.
I'll put it on my Twitter socials and shit too.
Yeah, so I'll put them all. I'll put them on both
guys will see it.
actually. Yeah, you guys will see it. Just post your questions. If you have any questions you want us to answer, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the first episode. So
I
thanks
just
for
want
watching.
to I just want to reiterate this podcast. I'm pretty experienced with podcasts. This is pretty much his first podcast.
If you couldn't tell already.
No, you did really good. I mean, the intro is always the hardest part, getting the balls rolling. But
Yeah.
I just want to reiterate, this is going to be a general Call of Duty podcast. We're going to talk about everything and anything Call of Duty. We're not going to get too deep into any one specific subject, and that's not going to be the best for, retention and growth and all that stuff. But we're not.
I mean, we just like talking.
We
about
just like
these
talking about
things.
Call of Duty, and
Yeah.
it's fun to make content and do podcasts and talk and whatever. So if you guys have any suggestions on stuff that you want to see us do better, questions like he said, hit us up, let us know. But yeah, this is our first episode. I think it went pretty good.
I do too. Yeah. Once we got into into things, it got way easier for me.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace out.
Peace.